chapter 16 in Danny the Champion of the World, and it's called The Champion of the World. I wonder what's going to happen today.
Oh, no.
It was not as dark as I'd expected it to be inside the wood this time. Little glints and glimmers from the brilliant moon outside shone through the leaves and gave the place a cold, eerie look. I brought a light for each of us, my father said. We're going to need it later on. He handed me one of those small pocket torches shaped like a fountain pen. I switched mine on. It threw a long, narrow beam of surprising brightness, and when I moved it around, it was like waving a very long white wand among the trees. I switched it on. We started walking back towards the clearing, where the pheasants had eaten the raisins. This, my father said, will be the first time in the history of the world that anyone has even tried to poach roosting pheasants. Isn't it marvellous, though, to be able to walk around without worrying about keepers? You don't think Mr. Rabbit might have sneaked back again just to make sure? Never, my father said. He's gone home to his supper. I couldn't help thinking that if I had been Mr. Rabbit, and if I had just seen two suspicious-looking characters lurking just outside my precious pheasant wood, I certainly would not have gone home to my supper. My father must have sensed my fears, because once again he reached out and took my hand in his, folding his long, warm fingers. Hand in hand, we threaded our way through the trees towards the clearing, and in a few minutes we were there. Here's where we threw the raisins, my father said. I peered through those bushes. The clearing lay pale and milky in the moonlight. What do we do next? We stay here and wait, my father said. I could just make out his face under the peak of his cap, the lips pale, the cheeks flushed, and the eyes shining bright. Are they all roosting, Dad? Yes, they're all around us. They don't go far. Could I see them if I shone my torch up into the branches? No, he said. They go up pretty high and then they hide amongst the leaves. We stood waiting for something to happen. But nothing happened. It was very quiet there in the wood. Danny, my father said. Yes, Dad. I've been wondering how a bird manages to keep its balance sitting on a branch when it's asleep. I said, I don't know how it does it. You know. Well, it's very peculiar, he said. What's peculiar, I asked. It's peculiar that a bird doesn't topple off its perch as soon as it goes to sleep. After all, if we were sitting on a branch and we went to sleep, we'd fall off at once, wouldn't we? But birds have claws and long toes, Dad. I expect they hold on with those. I know that, Danny, but I still don't understand why the toes keep gripping the perch once the bird is asleep. Surely everything goes limp when you fall asleep. I waited for him to go on. I was just thinking, he said, that if a bird can keep its balance when it's asleep, then surely there isn't any reason why the pills should make it fall down. It's doped, I said. Surely it will fall down if it's doped. But isn't that simply a deeper sort of sleep, he said. Why should we expect it to fall down just because it's in a deeper sleep? Uh-oh, said my father. I should have tested it with the roosters. Suddenly the blood seemed to have drained right out of his cheeks. His face was so pale I thought he might be going to faint. My dad would have tested it with the roosters before he did anything else, he said, as we looked into the trees. There they are, looking high up into those trees. All of a sudden, at that most precise moment, there came a soft thump from the wood behind us. What was that? I asked. Shh. We stood listening. Thump. There's another, I said. It was a deep, muffled sound, as though a bag of sand had been dropped to the ground. Thump. They're pheasants, I cried. Wait. They must be pheasants, Dad. Thump, thump. You may be right, Danny. Thump, thump, thump. We switched on our torches and ran towards the sounds. Where were they, my dad asked. Over there, Dad. Over here, look. 2 of them are over here. I thought they were this way. Keep looking. They can't be far. We searched for a minute. Here's one my father called. When I got to him, he was holding a magnificent pheasant by the feet that had gone with a thump to the ground. Oh, my goodness. We examined it closely with our torches. It's doped to high heaven, my father said. It won't wake up for a week. Thump! There's another, I cried. Thump, thump! 2 more, my father yelled. Thump, 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 thump. Jeepers, my father said. Thump, 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 thump. All around us, the pheasants were starting to rain down out of the trees. We began rushing around madly in the dark, sweeping the ground with our torches. Thump, thump, thump. This lot fell almost on top of me. I was right under the tree as they came down, and I found them almost immediately. And you see them just there.
What are they?
These are the pheasants that have fallen out of the tree because they're all doped with the raisins. They were limp and warm, the feathers wonderfully soft in the hand. And there were lots of them. And we'll find out more tomorrow. Bye, children.